Force yourself to organize your life. Published by Timeless Audiobook. Introduction. Chaos does not arrive loudly. It creeps in quietly, through postponed decisions, unfinished tasks, cluttered spaces, and unplanned days. At first it feels manageable, then it becomes normal. And before you realize it, disorder begins shaping your mood, your results, and your future. An unorganized life is not dramatic. It is exhausting. It drains energy in small, invisible ways. You search for things you misplaced. You rush because you didn't plan. You worry because something important might be slipping through the cracks. That constant pressure becomes familiar, but familiar does not mean healthy. Organization is not about perfection. It is about control. It is about reducing friction between you and your goals. It is about building a life that feels clear instead of crowded. When your environment is structured, your mind becomes calmer. When your time is directed, your confidence grows. When your priorities are defined, your progress becomes predictable. In this audiobook, we will confront the hidden cost of chaos. We will take responsibility for your environment, your time, your energy, your finances, your attention, and your emotions. You will learn how to build daily systems that remove negotiation, simplify your goals so you can focus deeply, and create structure that lasts beyond temporary motivation. Step by step, you will replace reaction with intention. This is not about becoming obsessive. It is about becoming disciplined. It is about forcing yourself to build order now so you don't regret disorder later. A structured life does not restrict you, it frees you. You are not here to drift. You are here to design. Let's begin. Chapter 1. Admit that chaos is costing you. Let me ask you something honestly. Not to impress anyone, not to defend yourself, just you and the truth. Is your life organized, or are you constantly reacting? If you slow down and look carefully, you may notice something uncomfortable. The stress you feel, the unfinished tasks, the mental fatigue, the constant rush. That isn't bad luck, that's chaos. And chaos is costing you more than you think. Chaos is expensive. It steals your time first. You spend minutes looking for things, hours recovering from missed deadlines, days catching up on what you postponed. Then it steals your energy. When your environment is scattered, your mind follows. When your schedule is unclear, your focus weakens. When your priorities are undefined, you drift, and drifting always feels busy, but it rarely leads anywhere meaningful. Most people never admit this. They say, "I'm just busy," or "life is complicated." But busyness is often disorganized effort. Complication is often unmade decisions, and unfinished decisions create mental noise. That noise follows you everywhere. It sits with you when you try to relax. It whispers when you try to sleep. It reminds you of what you haven't handled yet. Here is the hard truth. Disorganization is not harmless. It creates silent pressure. Small messes grow into large problems. A cluttered desk becomes delayed work. Delayed work becomes missed opportunity. Missed opportunity becomes regret, and regret is far heavier than discipline. You cannot fix what you refuse to admit. That is the first rule. Before you organize your life, you must admit that something is disorganized, not someday, not later, now. Look at your room, look at your calendar, look at your finances, look at your habits. Are they intentional or accidental? Be honest with yourself. Honesty is not weakness, it is power. When you admit that chaos is costing you, you stop blaming circumstances. You stop blaming other people. You stop blaming bad timing. You begin to see clearly, and clarity is the beginning of control. You may feel resistance right now. That's normal. The mind likes comfort. Even messy comfort feels safe because it is familiar. But familiar chaos is still chaos, and it will not magically turn into order. Order requires a decision, a firm one, a serious one. Understand this clearly. Organization is not about being neat for appearance. It is about reducing friction in your life. It is about removing unnecessary obstacles between you and your goals. Every time you waste time searching, correcting, apologizing, or restarting, you are paying the price of disorder. Think of your life like a machine. If parts are scattered and unaligned, the machine struggles. It overheats, it breaks down. But when everything is aligned and intentional, it runs smoothly. It produces more with less effort. That is what organization does. It aligns your actions with your intentions. So today, don't promise big changes yet. Just admit the truth. Say it clearly. Chaos has been costing me. Say it without shame. Say it without excuses. Because the moment you admit the cost, you become unwilling to keep paying it. And that is where transformation begins. Chapter 2. Take radical responsibility for your environment. Look around you right now. Not later. Not when it's convenient. Look at the room you're sitting in. Look at your desk, your phone, your schedule, your daily routine. This is not just a space, it is a reflection. Your environment is quietly shaping your thoughts, your mood, your discipline, and your direction. And whether you admit it or not, you built it. Maybe slowly, maybe unconsciously. But you allowed it, and that means you can change it. Most people underestimate the power of their surroundings. They believe success comes from willpower alone. They think if they just try harder, everything will improve. But willpower is fragile when it fights against disorder every single day. If your room is cluttered, your mind feels crowded. If your schedule is chaotic, your emotions feel rushed. If your phone constantly interrupts you, your focus never deepens. You cannot live in disorder and expect clarity. Radical responsibility means you stop blaming the outside world for the conditions you tolerate. You stop saying, "I'm just busy." You stop saying, "This is how life is." Instead, you say, "If it's in my control, it's my responsibility." That shift changes everything. Because once you accept ownership, you gain power. Your environment is either supporting your growth or slowing it down. There is no neutral. A messy desk silently encourages procrastination. A loud, distracting space weakens concentration. An unplanned day invites interruption. These small things don't look dangerous, but over time they shape your identity. You begin to see yourself as someone who reacts instead of someone who leads. Start with the physical. Clean your space, not because it looks good, but because it removes friction. When you know exactly where things are, you move faster. When your surroundings are orderly, your mind relaxes. Order outside creates calm inside. And calm inside creates better decisions. Then look at your digital environment. Your phone is not just a device, it is a doorway to distraction. Notifications pull your attention away from what matters. Random scrolling steals minutes that turn into hours. Emails pile up and create mental pressure. Radical responsibility means you control your devices instead of letting them control you. Turn off unnecessary notifications, organize your files, unsubscribe from noise, protect your focus like it's valuable, because it is. Now examine your schedule. Do you design your day, or does your day design you? If you wake up without a plan, you automatically surrender your time to other people's priorities. Meetings appear, requests appear, distractions appear, and by the end of the day, you feel busy but unaccomplished. That is not productivity, that is reaction. Responsibility means you decide what matters before the world interrupts you. You may think these changes are small: cleaning a room, organizing a calendar, turning off notifications, but small structural decisions create massive long-term results. When your environment supports discipline, discipline becomes easier. When your space encourages focus, focus becomes natural. You stop fighting yourself. Here is something important. You cannot control everything in life. You cannot control other people's behavior. You cannot control unexpected events. But you can control your immediate surroundings, and that control builds confidence. It reminds you that you are not powerless. There is a reason high performers are intentional about their spaces. They understand that environment is strategy. They don't leave their success to chance. They design conditions that make good decisions easier and bad decisions harder. They remove temptations. They create clarity. They simplify. This is not about perfection, it is about alignment. Does your environment reflect the person you want to become, or does it reflect the habits you are trying to escape? If you say you want discipline, does your space encourage it? If you say you want growth, does your schedule allow it? Your answers reveal your direction. Radical responsibility may feel uncomfortable at first. It forces you to admit that the chaos around you is not random. It is tolerated, but once you accept that truth, you gain control. And control creates momentum. So don't wait for motivation. Don't wait for the right time. Start where you are. Clean one space. Clarify one system. Structure one day. Take ownership of what surrounds you, because when you control your environment, you stop being a victim of circumstance. You become the architect of your life. Chapter 3. Clear physical clutter without mercy. There is something powerful about walking into a clean, open space. Your shoulders relax, your breathing slows, your mind feels lighter. Now compare that to walking into a room filled with piles, unfinished tasks, random objects, and things you keep meaning to deal with one day. You feel it immediately. A subtle weight, a quiet pressure. Physical clutter is not just visual noise, it is psychological weight. Most people underestimate how deeply their surroundings affect their thinking. They say, it's just a little mess. But little messes accumulate. One drawer becomes 3, one pile becomes 5. Soon you are living in postponed decisions. Every object you haven't dealt with represents something unfinished. And unfinished things drain energy. Clutter is not about quantity, it is about indecision. It is about holding on to what no longer serves you. Old papers you don't need, clothes you don't wear, items you keep, just in case. Each one may seem harmless, but together they create resistance. They make your environment heavy, and when your environment feels heavy, your mind follows. You must learn to clear physical clutter without mercy. Not emotionally, not angrily, but decisively. Ask one simple question: does this serve my current life direction? If the answer is no, it goes. Not tomorrow, not next month. Now, you are not throwing away memories. You are removing friction. Many people hold on to objects because they represent the past. Gifts from old relationships, clothes from a different phase of life, materials from goals you abandoned. But keeping everything does not honor your history. It traps you in it. Growth requires space, and space requires letting go. There is strength in minimalism, but not the aesthetic version you see online. Real minimalism is discipline. It is choosing clarity over attachment. It is understanding that every item in your space should either be useful or meaningful, not just present. Empty space is not emptiness, it is freedom. It gives your mind room to think. Start small if you need to. One drawer, one shelf, one corner of the room. But as you begin, commit fully. Do not half-organize. Do not shuffle clutter from one place to another. Decide, keep, remove, simplify. Feel the difference immediately. Notice how your mind responds when your surroundings are intentional. Clutter also steals time. How many minutes have you wasted searching for something you misplaced? Keys, documents, notes, clothes. Multiply those minutes over weeks and years. That is lost life. Organization is not about neatness for appearance. It is about efficiency. It is about eliminating unnecessary obstacles between you and action. There is another hidden cost to clutter. It normalizes disorder. When you tolerate small messes, you train yourself to tolerate bigger ones. You lower your standards quietly. You accept delay. You accept chaos. And that mindset spreads into other areas: work, finances, relationships. Standards matter. The way you handle your space reflects the way you handle your life. Clearing clutter is not a one-time event. It is a habit of awareness. Every new item you bring into your life should earn its place. Be intentional. Do not accumulate mindlessly. Do not collect things you do not truly value. The more you own, the more you must manage. And management requires energy. Imagine your life as a structure you are building. Every unnecessary item is like adding weight without purpose. Eventually, the structure becomes harder to maintain, But when you remove what is unnecessary, the foundation strengthens. You move more easily, you think more clearly, you act more decisively. This is not about becoming extreme, it is about becoming disciplined. You are not clearing space to impress anyone, you are clearing space to think, to focus, to grow. Order outside creates strength inside. When your environment feels intentional, you feel intentional. So be firm. Walk through your space with fresh eyes. Notice what is excess. Notice what is outdated. Notice what is simply taking up room. Then act. Without hesitation, without emotional negotiation. Create space. Create lightness. Create order. Because when you remove physical clutter, you are not just cleaning a room. You are training your mind to choose clarity over comfort. And that decision changes everything. Chapter 4. Master your time before it masters you. Time is the most equal resource you have. Every day you are given 24 hours, no more, no less. The difference between a chaotic life and an organized one is not talent, not luck, not background. It is structure. It is how those hours are directed. If you do not master your time, time will quietly master you. Look closely at your days. Do they feel intentional or do they feel rushed? Do you decide what happens or do you react to whatever appears? Most people wake up and immediately enter reaction mode. Messages, notifications, requests, problems. By the time the day ends, they are exhausted, yet unsure what they actually accomplished. That is not productivity, that is surrender. Unplanned time does not stay empty. It gets filled, usually with low-value activity. Scrolling, interruptions, random tasks that feel urgent but are not important. Without structure, your time becomes available to anyone and anything. And when your time is constantly available, your goals are constantly postponed. You must understand something clearly. Time management is life management. Every goal you have requires time. Every improvement requires time. Every relationship requires time. If you cannot organize your hours, you cannot organize your future, because the future is built in hours. Start by becoming aware. Track one full day honestly. Where did your time go? How much was intentional? How much was accidental? You may be surprised. Small leaks drain large results. 10 minutes here, 15 minutes there. Repeated daily, they become lost weeks, lost months, lost years. The solution is not to become robotic. It is to become deliberate. Before your day begins, decide what matters most. Identify 2 or 3 essential tasks that must move forward. Protect them, schedule them, treat them as commitments, not suggestions. When you give your priorities a place on your calendar, you give them importance. Many people say, "I'll do it when I have time." That sentence is dangerous. You will never have time. You must create it. You must assign it. Time does not organize itself. It waits for your direction. If you don't provide it, distractions will. Another trap is overloading your day. Trying to do everything leads to doing nothing well. Be realistic. Structure requires discipline, but it also requires wisdom. Leave space for rest. Leave space for transition. An organized day is not crammed, it is balanced. There is also power in rhythm. Wake up at a consistent time. Begin your day with a defined routine. Decide when you work deeply and when you handle shallow tasks. When your day has a pattern, your mind stops negotiating. You move from decision to execution with less resistance. Structure reduces mental fatigue. Deadlines are powerful tools. When a task has no deadline, it expands endlessly. When it has a clear boundary, your focus sharpens. Give your goals time frames. Hold yourself accountable. Respect your own schedule the way you would respect someone else's. Self-respect begins with honoring your own commitments. Remember this, being busy is not the same as being effective. Effectiveness comes from alignment. Your time should reflect your values. If you say growth matters, your calendar should show it. If health matters, your schedule should protect it. If family matters, your time should include it. Your calendar reveals your true priorities. There will be days when things go wrong. Unexpected events happen. Plans shift. That is normal. Mastery of time does not mean control over everything. It means returning to structure quickly. Reset, Replan, continue. Do not let one disrupted day turn into a disorganized week. When you master your time, something powerful happens. You feel calmer, you feel clearer, you stop chasing the clock, you begin leading it. Hours no longer slip away unnoticed. They move with purpose. Time is not your enemy. It is your most loyal resource if you respect it. But if you ignore it, it will move forward without you. So decide today. Do not let your hours drift. Design them, direct them, protect them, because when you master your time, you begin to master your life. Chapter 5. Create non-negotiable daily systems. Motivation is unreliable. It rises and falls with mood, energy, weather, and circumstance. Some days you feel driven, other days you feel tired, distracted, or uninspired. If your progress depends on how you feel, your progress will always be unstable. That is why you must build systems. Systems do not ask how you feel, they operate regardless. A system is a repeated structure that removes decision-making from the moment. It tells you what to do before you begin negotiating with yourself, and negotiation is the enemy of discipline. The more you debate, the more likely you are to delay, but when something is non-negotiable, there is no debate, there is only action. Start with your mornings. The first hour of your day sets the tone for everything that follows. If you wake up and immediately reach for your phone, your day begins in reaction. If you wake up without intention, your focus scatters before it even gathers. But when you create a simple, repeatable morning structure, you build momentum before the world interrupts you. Wake up at a set time, make your bed, move your body, review your priorities, keep it simple but keep it consistent. Then build an evening system. How you close your day matters just as much as how you begin it. An unplanned evening often dissolves into distraction, late-night scrolling, random entertainment, delayed sleep, but a structured evening calms your mind. Prepare for tomorrow. Reflect on what you completed. Set out what you need. Sleep becomes deeper when your mind is not carrying unfinished decisions. Non-negotiable does not mean complicated. In fact, the simpler the system, the more powerful it becomes. 3 to 5 essential actions repeated daily can transform your life. Reading 10 pages, reviewing goals, tracking expenses, exercising for 30 minutes, writing a short reflection. Small actions done consistently outperform intense bursts done occasionally. The purpose of a system is to reduce friction. When you repeat the same pattern daily, you conserve mental energy. You do not wake up wondering what to do. You do not waste time deciding when to start. You move automatically, and automatic progress is powerful progress. Many people wait for the right mood to begin. They say, "I'll start when I feel ready," but readiness is often an illusion. Action creates readiness. Discipline creates clarity. The system comes first. The feeling follows. There will be resistance at the beginning. Your mind will resist structure because it prefers comfort. It prefers flexibility without responsibility. But understand this, freedom without structure leads to chaos. Structure creates a higher level of freedom. When your essentials are handled daily, you move through life with less anxiety. You know you are progressing, even on ordinary days. Another benefit of daily systems is identity. When you repeat disciplined actions, you begin to see yourself differently. You are no longer someone who tries, you are someone who does. You do not rely on bursts of inspiration, you rely on structure. And identity built on structure is stable. Protect your systems fiercely, do not compromise them easily. Of course, life will present emergencies and unexpected demands, but those should be exceptions, not patterns. When you treat your daily systems as optional, they slowly disappear. When you treat them as commitments, they strengthen. It is also important to review and adjust. A system should serve you, not suffocate you. If something consistently fails, refine it, make it simpler, make it clearer, but do not abandon the idea of structure because one attempt felt difficult. Repetition may feel boring at times, but boredom is not the enemy of growth. In fact, repetition is where mastery is built. The athlete trains daily, the musician practices scales daily, the disciplined person executes essential habits daily. Greatness is not dramatic, it is structured. Remember this. Your future is shaped by what you repeat, not what you intend, not what you promise, what you repeat. So choose carefully. Build daily systems that move you forward, whether you feel strong or weak, inspired or tired. Remove negotiation, remove excuses, install structure, because when your days are structured, your progress becomes predictable, and predictable progress builds unstoppable confidence. Chapter 6. Stop multitasking and focus on one mission. Multitasking feels productive. It feels efficient. You answer messages while working, you check notifications during meetings, you switch between tasks every few minutes. At the end of the day, you feel busy, very busy. But busyness is not the same as progress, and scattered attention produces scattered results. Your mind was not designed to focus deeply on multiple important tasks at the same time. What you call multitasking is often rapid task switching, and every switch costs you energy. Every interruption breaks your concentration. Every glance at your phone resets your thinking. You may not notice it immediately, but the quality of your work declines, your depth weakens, your output becomes average. If you want to organize your life, you must first organize your attention. Attention is your most valuable currency. Where it goes, your life follows. When your attention is fragmented, your results become fragmented. When your attention is concentrated, your progress accelerates. Most people struggle not because they lack ability, but because they lack sustained focus. They start many things, they finish few. They move from idea to idea, task to task, without completing what matters most. And unfinished work creates mental clutter. It lingers in your mind, reminding you of what you have not completed. There is power in choosing one mission at a time. When you sit down to work, define clearly what you are working on. Not 5 things, not 3 things, one primary objective. Give it your full attention for a defined period. No phone, no browsing, no distractions, just focused effort. At first, this may feel uncomfortable. Your mind is used to stimulation, it craves novelty, but discipline grows through discomfort. Deep focus produces higher quality results in less time. When you immerse yourself fully in a task, you enter a state of flow, your thinking sharpens, your creativity increases, your speed improves. 1 hour of uninterrupted concentration can accomplish more than 3 hours of distracted effort. That is not theory, that is reality. To protect your focus, you must create boundaries, silence unnecessary notifications, close irrelevant tabs, inform others when you are unavailable. These are not extreme actions, they are protective measures. If you do not guard your attention, the world will happily consume it. It is also important to reduce the number of active goals in your life. Too many priorities mean no true priority. Choose what matters most in this season. Concentrate your energy there. When you spread yourself thin, you weaken your impact. When you concentrate, you amplify it. Understand this clearly. Completion builds confidence. Every time you finish what you start, you strengthen your discipline. You prove to yourself that you are reliable. But every time you abandon tasks halfway, you weaken that trust. Organization is not just about tidy spaces and structured schedules. It is about finishing what you begin. There will always be distractions. New ideas will appear. Opportunities will surface. But not every opportunity deserves immediate action. Learn to capture ideas without abandoning your current mission. Write them down. Schedule them later. But stay present with what you committed to. Focus is not restrictive, it is liberating. When you focus on one task at a time, your mind feels calmer. You are not juggling mental tabs. You are not constantly switching contexts. You are fully engaged, and engagement makes work meaningful. You may fear that focusing on one mission will cause you to miss out, but the opposite is true. Scattered effort leads to mediocrity in many areas. Concentrated effort leads to excellence in one, and excellence creates opportunity. Train yourself to ask a simple question: what is the most important thing I should be working on right now? Then work on it, without negotiation, without delay, without distraction, even if only for 30 focused minutes. Build that muscle daily, because when you master your attention, you master your output. And when your output improves, your life begins to organize itself around meaningful progress instead of endless activity. Chapter 7. Organize your finances or stay stressed. Money is not everything, but financial disorder affects everything. It affects your sleep. It affects your confidence. It affects your relationships. It even affects the decisions you make about your future. You may try to ignore it, postpone it, or avoid looking at the numbers, but avoidance does not reduce pressure. It increases it. Financial chaos is silent stress. Many people say they want peace, yet they refuse to bring order to their finances. They spend without tracking. They earn without planning. They hope without calculating. And hope is not a strategy. If you do not tell your money where to go, it will disappear quietly. Then anxiety appears loudly. The first step is awareness. You must know your numbers, not roughly, not approximately, exactly. How much do you earn? How much do you spend? Where does it go? When you face the truth clearly, you remove uncertainty, and uncertainty is what creates fear. Some people avoid checking their accounts because they are afraid of what they will see. But fear grows in darkness. When you bring clarity to your finances, you take back control. Even if the numbers are not ideal, they are manageable once they are visible. Start simple. Write down your monthly income. List your fixed expenses. Then list your variable spending. Be honest. Every subscription, every habit purchase, every small expense that feels insignificant. Small leaks sink ships. A little here and a little there may seem harmless, but over time they erode stability. Financial organization is not about becoming obsessed with money. It is about removing chaos. When your finances are clear, your decisions become rational instead of emotional. You stop spending to relieve stress. You stop borrowing to maintain appearances. You begin acting strategically. One of the most powerful habits you can build is paying yourself first. Before you spend, save. Even a small percentage matters. This creates momentum. It builds confidence. An emergency fund, even a modest one, changes how you move through life. You are no longer panicked by unexpected expenses. You are prepared. Debt is another area where disorder thrives. Ignoring debt does not reduce it. It grows quietly. Interest accumulates. Stress increases. Face it directly. List it clearly. Create a repayment plan. Step by step. Month by month. Organization turns an overwhelming problem into a structured challenge. Avoid comparing your financial life to others. Comparison often leads to reckless decisions. People overspend to impress. They purchase things they do not need to maintain an image they cannot afford. That is financial chaos disguised as success. True stability is quiet. It is disciplined. It is controlled. Financial organization also requires long-term thinking. What are you building? What are you preparing for? Retirement, family, a home, freedom. Without defined goals, money flows without direction. When you define purpose, spending becomes intentional. There is dignity in financial discipline. Tracking expenses does not mean you are poor. Budgeting does not mean you lack ambition. It means you are in control, and control reduces stress. You may not become wealthy overnight. That is not the point. The goal is order. When your finances are organized, you eliminate one major source of chaos in your life. You replace uncertainty with structure. You replace fear with planning. Remember, money amplifies who you are. If you are disorganized, more money increases confusion. If you are disciplined, more money increases stability. So build discipline first. Take an hour this week. Sit down. Review everything. Create a simple system. Track monthly. Adjust when needed. Stay consistent. Financial organization is not a one-time event. It is a habit. Because when your money is clear, your mind is clear. And when your mind is clear, your decisions become stronger. Organize your finances and you reduce stress at its root. Ignore them and stress will follow you everywhere. The choice is simple: order or anxiety, discipline or confusion. Decide wisely. Chapter 8. Clean up your digital life. Your digital world may look invisible, but it is one of the most powerful forces shaping your attention, your mood, and your discipline. You may have cleaned your room, you may have organized your schedule, but if your phone is chaotic, your focus will never be stable. Digital clutter is modern chaos. Look at your phone honestly. How many unread emails are sitting there? How many notifications interrupt you daily? How many apps compete for your attention? Each alert may seem small, but together they create constant mental noise. Your mind never fully rests. It never fully concentrates. It is always partially distracted. The problem is not technology itself. The problem is lack of control. When your devices control your attention, your life becomes reactive. You pick up your phone to check one thing, and 30 minutes disappear. You open your email to respond to one message, and you end up scrolling through promotions and distractions. That is not intentional living. That is digital drift. Start with notifications. Ask yourself a simple question. Does this alert truly deserve my immediate attention? Most do not. Social media likes, random updates, promotional emails, these are not emergencies. Silence them. Turn off non-essential notifications. You will feel uncomfortable at first. You may feel like you are missing something, but what you are really gaining is silence. Next, clean your home screen. Remove unnecessary apps. Organize the ones you use. Keep your digital space as intentional as your physical space. When you unlock your phone, it should not feel like entering a marketplace of distractions. It should feel purposeful. Then address your email. Thousands of unread messages represent unfinished decisions. They create subtle stress. Take time to unsubscribe from what you no longer need. Archive what is irrelevant. Create folders. Set specific times to check messages instead of responding constantly. Email should serve your schedule, not interrupt it. Social media requires strong boundaries. It is designed to capture attention. Endless scrolling weakens discipline. It trains your mind to seek quick stimulation instead of deep focus. Decide when and how long you will use it. Set limits. Better yet, schedule usage. When time is up, close it without negotiation. Digital organization also includes your files, photos scattered across devices, documents saved randomly, notes written but never reviewed. This is digital clutter. Create folders, label clearly, delete duplicates, keep what matters. When you can find what you need instantly, your productivity improves. Your phone should be a tool, not a temptation. Consider this. If you struggle to focus on meaningful work, examine how often you check your device. Every interruption fractures your thinking. It takes time to rebuild deep concentration. Protect that depth fiercely. There is another hidden cost to digital chaos: comparison. Constant exposure to other people's highlights distorts your perception. You begin comparing your behind-the-scenes life to their curated moments. That creates dissatisfaction and distraction. Limiting exposure protects your mental clarity. You do not need to eliminate technology from your life. You need to master it. Use apps that enhance learning. Use tools that track habits. Use reminders that support discipline, but remove what drains energy without adding value. Set digital-free blocks in your day. Work sessions without your phone nearby. Evenings without endless scrolling. Mornings without immediate exposure to messages. These boundaries create mental strength. They teach you that you control your attention. Remember, attention is finite. Every minute spent on meaningless digital consumption is a minute removed from your goals. If you want to organize your life, you must organize your digital world. Begin today. Clean your phone, silence the noise, delete the unnecessary, structure your usage, protect your focus. Because when your digital environment is calm and intentional, your mind becomes calmer and stronger. And a calm, strong mind builds an organized, powerful life. Chapter 9. Simplify your goals and eliminate distractions. Many people are not failing because they aim too low. They are failing because they aim in too many directions at once. They want to get fit, build a business, learn new skills, improve relationships, travel more, read more, earn more, all at the same time. Ambition is not the problem. Lack of focus is. When everything feels important, nothing receives your full strength. Too many goals create mental clutter. Your attention becomes divided, your energy becomes diluted. You start multiple paths but complete none. This creates frustration. You feel busy, yet progress feels slow. The truth is simple. Divided focus weakens impact. If you want to organize your life, you must simplify your direction, not forever, but for now. Choose what truly matters in this season. Identify 1 or 2 major priorities that deserve your full attention. Not 10, not 5, just the few that will create the greatest change. Clarity brings power. When your goals are clear and limited, your decisions become easier. You no longer wake up wondering what to work on. You no longer feel pulled in every direction. You move intentionally. Simplicity creates momentum. Ask yourself honestly, what goal, if achieved, would make the biggest difference in my life right now? That is your focus. Everything else becomes secondary. Not unimportant, but secondary. This requires courage, because saying yes to one priority means saying no to others. Distractions are not always obvious. Some look productive, a new opportunity, a new idea, a new project that feels exciting. But not every opportunity aligns with your current mission. When you chase everything, you finish nothing. Discipline is choosing what not to pursue. Learn to say no without guilt. No to invitations that do not support your goals. No to commitments that stretch you thin. No to habits that consume time without creating value. Every yes carries a cost. Every commitment requires energy. Guard yours carefully. There is also danger in constant comparison. Seeing what others are doing can tempt you to change direction repeatedly. You see someone succeeding in one area and suddenly you want to pivot. Then you see another opportunity and shift again. This creates instability. Stay grounded in your chosen mission. Depth creates results, not constant redirection. Simplicity does not mean small thinking. It means concentrated thinking. Imagine sunlight scattered across a field. It warms, but it does not burn. Now imagine that same light focused through a magnifying glass. It becomes powerful. That is what simplified goals do. They concentrate your energy. Write your primary goal clearly. Define measurable steps. Break it into daily and weekly actions. Keep it visible. Review it often. When distractions appear, compare them to your priority. If they do not support it, decline them. This approach reduces stress as well. When your goals are simplified, your mind is not overwhelmed by endless possibilities. You feel directed instead of scattered, and direction creates confidence. Remember, life has seasons. You do not have to accomplish everything at once. There will be time for other pursuits, but right now, choose wisely. Focus deeply, complete fully. Eliminating distractions is not about becoming rigid or isolated. It is about alignment. When your daily actions align with your primary objective, progress becomes visible, and visible progress fuels motivation. Organization requires elimination. You cannot organize chaos without removing excess. The same applies to your ambitions. Remove the unnecessary. Clarify the essential, because when you simplify your goals, you simplify your decisions. When you simplify your decisions, you strengthen your focus. And when your focus strengthens, your results accelerate. Choose less, achieve more. That is the discipline of organized living. Chapter 10. Design your week like a CEO. Most people live their lives one day at a time. They wake up, react, adjust, survive, and repeat. There is no larger structure guiding their week. No intentional overview, just scattered effort. But if you truly want to organize your life, you must rise above the daily rush and begin thinking weekly. Leaders do not drift through their weeks. They design them. Think like a CEO of your own life. A CEO does not wait for problems to appear before planning. They review, analyze, and prepare before the week begins. They look at priorities. They assess risks. They allocate resources. Your time and energy are your resources. If you do not assign them intentionally, they will be consumed accidentally. Choose one day each week, perhaps Sunday evening or Monday morning, to conduct a weekly review. This is your leadership meeting with yourself. No distractions, no rushing. Sit down with your calendar, your goals, and your responsibilities. Look at what is coming. Meetings, deadlines, personal commitments, health priorities, financial tasks. See the full picture before stepping into it. When you see your week as a whole, you regain control. You notice conflicts before they happen. You adjust workloads realistically. You schedule deep work sessions in advance. You protect time for what matters most, instead of squeezing it in as an afterthought. A weekly plan prevents emotional decision-making. Without structure, your mood determines your productivity. You work on what feels urgent instead of what is important. But when your week is designed ahead of time, you follow strategy instead of impulse. Begin by identifying the 3 major outcomes you want from the week. Not tasks, outcomes. What must move forward for this week to feel successful? Write them clearly, then break them into scheduled actions, assign them specific days and times, treat those appointments with respect. You would not casually cancel an important meeting with someone else. Do not casually cancel on yourself. Energy management is just as important as time management. Some days you are naturally sharper, some days you feel slower. Place your most demanding tasks where your energy is highest. Reserve lower energy periods for administrative or lighter work. This alignment increases efficiency without increasing stress. A well-designed week also includes rest. Many people overload their calendars without considering recovery. Then they burn out and blame the workload. Sustainable productivity requires rhythm. Work intensely, rest intentionally. Build both into your weekly design. Anticipate distractions. They will come. Unexpected requests, delays, interruptions. But when your week is structured, you can absorb disruptions without losing direction. You adjust, not abandon. A clear weekly framework gives flexibility without chaos. At the end of the week, review again. What worked? What didn't? What needs adjustment? Reflection strengthens discipline. It transforms experience into learning. Without review, mistakes repeat. With review, systems improve. Designing your week builds confidence. Instead of feeling overwhelmed by the unknown, you feel prepared. You know what deserves your attention. You know where your time is going. That clarity reduces anxiety significantly. Remember, organization is not about rigidity. It is about intentional living. A weekly plan is not a prison. It is a roadmap. It frees you from constant decision fatigue. It allows you to focus deeply during work and relax fully during rest because you know your priorities are accounted for. When you think weekly, your perspective expands. You stop living minute to minute. You start building momentum. Each week becomes a strategic step forward instead of a random collection of days. You are the executive of your own life. Act like it. Schedule deliberately. Review honestly. Adjust wisely. Design your week before it designs you. Because when your weeks are structured, your months gain direction. And when your months gain direction, your life moves with purpose instead of pressure. Chapter 11. Build a personal command center. Your mind is powerful, but it is not designed to store everything. It is designed to think, to create, to solve problems, not to remember every task, idea, and obligation. When you try to hold everything in your head, you create mental clutter. You forget things. You feel overwhelmed. You constantly worry that something is slipping through the cracks. That quiet anxiety drains energy. If you want to organize your life at a higher level, you must build what I call a personal command center, a single reliable system where everything important is captured, organized, and reviewed. Not scattered across sticky notes, random notebooks, memory, and unread messages. One place, one trusted source. This could be a physical notebook, a planner, or a digital tool. The format matters less than the discipline. The key is centralization. When ideas come to you, capture them immediately. When tasks appear, write them down. When goals evolve, record them clearly. Do not rely on memory. Memory is inconsistent. Systems are dependable. There is peace in knowing that nothing important is floating loose in your mind. When you capture tasks in a trusted system, your brain relaxes. It no longer needs to keep reminding you. That mental space becomes available for creativity and focus. Your command center should contain several core elements. First, your goals. Clear, written objectives, not vague wishes. Defined targets. Second, your task list, organized by priority, not by random order. Third, your calendar, scheduled commitments with realistic timeframes. Fourth, a space for notes and ideas, a place where inspiration can land safely without interrupting your flow. Review is what makes the system powerful. A command center that is never reviewed becomes another source of clutter. Daily quick check-ins, weekly deeper reviews, monthly reflections. These rhythms keep everything aligned. They ensure that small tasks do not become forgotten burdens. Many people underestimate the value of writing things down. They believe they can remember, but every time you try to mentally track something, you consume attention. Multiply that by dozens of unfinished tasks, and your focus weakens. Writing creates clarity. Clarity reduces stress. There is also accountability built into a command center. When you see your goals and tasks regularly, you cannot pretend they do not exist. You face them, you decide, you act. Avoidance becomes harder when your commitments are visible. Keep your system simple. Overcomplicated systems collapse. Too many categories, colors, or layers create confusion. Simplicity increases consistency. The goal is not to impress yourself with complexity. The goal is to create a tool you will actually use. Your command center becomes a place of strategy. Instead of reacting to whatever demands your attention, you consult your system. You ask, what truly matters today? And the answer is there. This reduces emotional decision-making. It strengthens discipline. Another benefit is continuity. Life moves quickly. Weeks blend into months. Without a centralized system, progress becomes unclear. But when you track your actions and goals in one place, you see growth, you see patterns, you see improvement. That builds confidence. This is not about becoming obsessive, it is about becoming organized. The more responsibilities you carry, the more valuable structure becomes. A scattered system creates scattered thinking. A centralized system creates clarity. Make a decision today. Choose your format. Set it up intentionally. Begin capturing everything that requires your attention. Trust it, review it, refine it when necessary. But do not abandon it, because when your life runs through a personal command center, you no longer feel overwhelmed by loose ends. You feel directed, you feel steady, you feel in control, and control is the foundation of an organized, powerful life. Chapter 12. Remove energy drains ruthlessly. You can organize your room, you can structure your calendar, you can plan your week perfectly, but if your energy is constantly drained, none of it will matter. Organization is not just about time and space, it is about energy, and energy is your true currency. Without it, discipline collapses. Look closely at your life. What consistently leaves you feeling exhausted, frustrated, or mentally heavy? Not physically tired from meaningful effort. That kind of tired can be satisfying. I'm talking about the kind of exhaustion that comes from unnecessary conflict, pointless obligations, constant negativity, or endless distractions. Energy drains are often subtle. A relationship that constantly pulls you into drama, a habit of late-night scrolling that steals your sleep, a commitment you agreed to out of guilt but secretly resent. These may seem small individually, but together they weaken your focus and clarity. If you want to organize your life, you must remove energy drains without hesitation. Not emotionally, not aggressively, but firmly. Start by identifying them honestly. Where do you feel the most resistance? What interactions leave you depleted? What routines leave you scattered instead of strengthened? One of the biggest drains is toxic interaction. You cannot control other people's behavior, but you can control your boundaries. If someone constantly disrespects your time, speak clearly. If someone spreads negativity, limit exposure. Protecting your energy is not selfish, it is strategic. You cannot build a focused life while constantly absorbing chaos from others. Another drain is overcommitment. Many people say yes to too many things. They fear disappointing others. They fear missing out. But every unnecessary commitment consumes time and mental space. Learn to pause before agreeing. Ask yourself, does this align with my priorities? If the answer is no, decline politely. A clear no protects your future yes. Poor habits also drain energy silently. Irregular sleep, unstructured evenings, mindless consumption. These habits may feel comforting in the moment, but they weaken your discipline long term. Energy management begins with physical care, consistent sleep, movement, proper rest. Without physical stability, mental organization becomes harder. Pay attention to mental drains as well. Overthinking past mistakes, worrying excessively about things outside your control, constant comparison. These thought patterns consume enormous energy. You must discipline your thinking. If a thought does not lead to constructive action, release it. Train your mind to focus on solutions, not endless replay. Even cluttered goals can drain energy. When you attempt too many projects at once, your attention fragments. You feel pressure from multiple unfinished tasks. Simplify. Finish what you start. Completion restores energy. There is also power in creating energy sources. Organized living is not only about removal, it is about replacement. Replace draining habits with strengthening ones. Replace chaotic conversations with meaningful ones. Replace random entertainment with intentional rest. Build routines that recharge you. Remember, energy is finite each day. When you wake up, you have a certain amount. If you spend it on trivial matters early, you will struggle to focus on what truly matters later. Guard your mornings carefully. Guard your peak hours fiercely. Do not allow low-value distractions to consume high-value energy. Removing drains may feel uncomfortable at first. You may need difficult conversations. You may need to let go of familiar habits. But discomfort is temporary. Constant exhaustion is not. Organization requires clarity. Clarity requires energy. Energy requires protection. This is not optional. It is essential. Audit your life honestly. Identify what weakens you. Then reduce it. Eliminate it where possible. Create boundaries. Simplify commitments. Strengthen your body and mind, because when your energy is protected, your focus sharpens. When your focus sharpens, your discipline strengthens. And when your discipline strengthens, your life becomes organized not only externally, but internally. Ruthless removal creates powerful momentum. Guard your energy. It is the foundation of everything you build. Chapter 13. Discipline your mind against emotional disorder. You can clean your room, you can plan your week, you can organize your finances, but if your emotions control you, chaos will return. Organization is not only external, it is internal, and the mind, if left undisciplined, becomes the greatest source of disorder in your life. Emotional disorder shows up quietly, overreacting to small problems, losing focus because of criticism, procrastinating because of fear, making impulsive decisions because of frustration. These reactions may feel natural, but natural does not mean helpful. When emotions dictate your actions, consistency disappears. A disciplined mind does not suppress emotion, it manages it. There is a difference. Suppression ignores feelings. Discipline acknowledges them, but refuses to let them take control. You can feel anger without acting recklessly. You can feel fear without quitting. You can feel disappointment without collapsing. The first step is awareness. Notice your patterns. When do you lose control? When do you make poor decisions? What emotions usually precede chaos? Most people never pause long enough to observe themselves. They simply react. But reaction without reflection leads to repetition. Create space between feeling and action. Even a few seconds of pause changes everything. When something triggers you, breathe. Step back mentally. Ask yourself, what is the most constructive response here? That question alone restores control. It shifts you from impulse to intention. Emotional discipline also requires perspective. Many daily frustrations are minor in the larger picture. Delays, criticism, small mistakes. If you magnify them emotionally, they disrupt your structure. If you place them in context, they lose power. Train yourself to zoom out. Ask, will this matter in a year? Often the answer is no. Another source of emotional disorder is negative self-talk. The voice inside your mind shapes your confidence. If you constantly criticize yourself, replay failures, and doubt your ability, you weaken your discipline. Organized thinking requires constructive internal dialogue. Speak to yourself with firmness, but also fairness. Replace "I always fail" with "I made a mistake and I will correct it." Journaling is a powerful tool here. When emotions feel overwhelming, write them down. Seeing your thoughts on paper reduces their intensity. It allows you to analyze instead of react. Patterns become visible. Solutions become clearer. You must also learn to accept discomfort. Growth is uncomfortable. Change is uncomfortable. Discipline itself is uncomfortable. If you expect comfort at all times, you will resist structure. Emotional maturity means accepting temporary discomfort for long-term order. Resilience plays a major role. Life will not follow your plans perfectly. Unexpected problems will arise. People will disappoint you. Plans will fail. Emotional disorder begins when you demand that life match your expectations. Emotional discipline begins when you adapt calmly. Guard your mental input carefully. What you consume affects how you think. Constant negativity, drama, and comparison distort your emotional balance. Choose content that strengthens clarity and perspective. Your mind reflects what it absorbs. Understand this clearly. An organized life requires an organized response to stress. You cannot eliminate stress completely, but you can control how you handle it. Calm responses create stable outcomes. Impulsive reactions create new problems. Practice emotional control daily, in small situations. When someone interrupts you, when a task takes longer than expected, when criticism appears, these small moments are training grounds. The more you practice calmness, the stronger it becomes. You are not your emotions, you are the one observing them. That awareness gives you authority. Authority creates stability. Stability supports organization, because when your mind is disciplined, external order becomes easier to maintain. When your reactions are steady, your decisions are clearer, and when your decisions are clear, your life moves forward with strength instead of turbulence. Emotional discipline is not optional, it is the foundation of lasting order. Chapter 14. Build long-term order, not temporary motivation. Many people reorganize their lives in bursts. They clean everything in one weekend. They create detailed plans. They feel inspired, energized, determined. For a few days, maybe even a few weeks, everything feels different. Then slowly, almost quietly, old habits return. The desk becomes cluttered again. The schedule becomes reactive. The discipline fades. This cycle repeats. That is temporary motivation. And temporary motivation cannot build a stable life. If you want lasting order, you must shift from intensity to consistency. Intensity feels powerful, but it is unstable. Consistency feels ordinary, but it is unstoppable. Long-term organization is not built on dramatic resets, it is built on daily maintenance. First, understand why the cycle happens. Motivation is emotional. It rises when you are inspired or frustrated, but emotions change. When energy drops, structure collapses, unless structure is rooted in identity. That is the key difference. When you see yourself as someone trying to be organized, you depend on effort. When you see yourself as an organized person, your actions align naturally. Identity drives behavior. If you believe you are disciplined, you act accordingly. If you believe you are careless, you excuse disorder. Long-term order begins with a decision about who you are becoming. Say it clearly. I am a person who values structure. Repeat it. Act on it. Reinforce it daily. Maintenance is not exciting. Cleaning a little each day is less dramatic than a full reset. Reviewing your schedule weekly feels repetitive. Updating your command center regularly may feel ordinary. But these small acts prevent chaos from rebuilding. Maintenance protects momentum. Avoid perfectionism. Perfectionism often leads to burnout. You try to organize every detail flawlessly. When one part fails, you feel discouraged and abandon the system entirely. Long-term order accepts imperfection. If you miss a routine one day, return the next. If your week becomes messy, reset calmly. The goal is not flawless execution, it is reliable return. Create simple rules that guide your behavior. For example, I reset my workspace every evening. I review my goals every Sunday. I track expenses weekly. These rules remove negotiation. When rules are clear, discipline becomes automatic. It is also important to evolve your systems gradually. As your responsibilities grow, your structure must adjust. What worked last year may need refinement now. Review periodically. Simplify where necessary. Strengthen weak areas. Adapt without abandoning the foundation. Long-term organization requires patience. Results may not feel dramatic immediately, but over months and years, the compounding effect is powerful. You avoid crises, you reduce stress, you increase efficiency. Stability builds quietly. There will be moments when you feel tempted to relax your standards. You will think, it's fine, it's just one day. Sometimes that is true, but repeated small compromises weaken structure. Guard your standards gently but firmly. Discipline is easier to maintain than to rebuild. Celebrate consistency, not intensity. If you followed your systems calmly this week, that is success. If you handled challenges without collapsing into chaos, that is progress. A stable life is not loud, it is steady. Remember, Organization is not a project with an end date, it is a lifestyle. Just like physical health requires ongoing care, mental and environmental order require continuous attention. When you accept that truth, you stop searching for shortcuts. Temporary motivation seeks quick transformation. Long-term order builds sustainable structure. Choose sustainability, choose patience, choose identity over emotion. Because when order becomes part of who you are, it no longer feels forced, it becomes natural, it becomes your standard. And when your standards are high and consistent, your life remains steady, not because of inspiration, but because of discipline. Chapter 15. Live intentionally, not accidentally. There are two ways to live. You can live by default, or you can live by design. Living by default means reacting to circumstances, adjusting to pressure, and drifting wherever momentum takes you. Living by design means choosing your direction, structuring your days, and aligning your actions with your values. Organization is not the final goal, intention is. An organized life without intention is simply efficient drifting. You may manage your time well, track your finances carefully, and maintain clean systems, but if you do not know why you are doing it, the structure feels empty. Intention gives organization meaning. It connects your daily discipline to a larger purpose. Ask yourself clearly, what kind of life am I building? Not what do you want temporarily, but what direction truly matters to you. Health, stability, growth, contribution, peace. Write it down, define it. When your values are unclear, your decisions become inconsistent. But when your values are defined, your structure aligns naturally. Living intentionally requires conscious choices. Every day presents options: how you spend your time, who you give your energy to, what you prioritize. Without intention, these decisions are made automatically by habit or pressure. With intention, they are made deliberately. Small daily decisions shape long-term outcomes: choosing to wake up on time, choosing to focus deeply, choosing to save instead of overspend, choosing to respond calmly instead of emotionally. These may seem minor in isolation, but over months and years, they determine your trajectory. Many people drift because drifting is easier. It requires no planning, no discipline, no confrontation with uncomfortable truths. But drifting eventually creates regret. You look back and wonder where the time went. You realize years passed without clear direction. Intentional living prevents that regret. To live intentionally, you must review your direction regularly. Goals evolve, circumstances change, but your core values should remain steady. Schedule moments of reflection. Ask yourself, am I moving toward what matters, or am I simply staying busy? Intentional living also requires courage. Sometimes your values will not align with the expectations of others. You may need to decline opportunities. You may need to say no to distractions that others accept. You may need to create boundaries that protect your focus. That courage strengthens identity. Alignment brings peace. When your daily habits reflect your long-term vision, you feel stable. There is no hidden tension between who you are and who you want to be. Your calendar matches your priorities. Your environment supports your growth. Your systems reinforce your values. Intentional living does not mean rigid control. Life will still surprise you, but instead of being knocked off course easily, you adjust without losing direction. You remain anchored in purpose. Remember this clearly. Organization creates space. Intention fills that space with meaning. Together they create a powerful life. Without organization, intention struggles. Without intention, organization feels hollow. You have built structure. You have disciplined your time, your finances, your focus, your environment, and your emotions. Now connect all of it to something larger than productivity. Connect it to who you are becoming. Live with awareness. Live with direction. Live with conscious choice. Because an accidental life may feel comfortable in the moment, but it rarely becomes extraordinary. An intentional life requires effort, but it produces fulfillment. Each morning remind yourself, I choose my direction today. Each evening ask yourself, did my actions reflect my values? These simple questions keep you aligned. You are not here to drift. You are here to build. Build with clarity. Build with structure. Build with intention. When you live intentionally, Organization stops feeling forced. It becomes a natural extension of purpose, and purpose is what turns discipline into power. Conclusion. You began this journey with one simple but powerful idea. Force yourself to organize your life, not because it sounds impressive, not because it looks good from the outside, but because disorder is expensive, and you are done paying that price. Throughout these chapters you have seen the truth clearly. Chaos steals time, it drains energy, it weakens focus, it creates stress that slowly becomes normal, and what becomes normal becomes tolerated. That is how years slip away, not in dramatic failure, but in quiet disorder. But you also discovered something more important. Organization is not about perfection, it is about control, it is about reducing friction between you and the life you want to build. When your space is clear, your mind feels lighter. When your schedule is structured, your days feel intentional. When your finances are organized, anxiety decreases. When your attention is focused, your results improve. Order creates strength. You now understand that organization is not a one-time event. It is a discipline. It is a daily choice. It is the quiet decision to reset your desk at night, to review your goals weekly, to guard your energy, to say no when necessary, to pause before reacting emotionally, to simplify when life becomes crowded. And here is the most powerful realization: organization is self-respect. It is a signal you send to yourself that your time matters, your energy matters, your future matters. When you live without structure, you treat your potential casually. When you build structure, you treat it seriously. There will be days when you feel tired, days when you feel tempted to relax your standards, days when chaos tries to return. That is normal. Discipline is not the absence of difficulty, it is the decision to continue anyway. Do not wait for motivation. Motivation fades. Do not wait for the perfect time. It will not arrive. Begin now. Clean one space. Clarify one goal. Review one system. Protect 1 hour of focused work. Small disciplined actions repeated daily create massive change over time. Remember this clearly: your life is shaped by what you repeat, not what you promise, not what you plan once in a while, what you repeat. If you repeat disorder, you build chaos. If you repeat structure, you build stability. And stability creates confidence. Confidence grows quietly when you know your life is under control, when your commitments are tracked, when your time is directed, when your mind is disciplined. That confidence changes how you speak, how you decide, how you lead. You do not need to organize your life to impress anyone. You do it to free yourself. Freedom is not the absence of structure, it is the result of structure. When your responsibilities are handled, your space is clear, and your priorities are aligned, you experience a calm strength. That calm strength is powerful. Years from now, you will either look back and thank yourself for building order or wish you had started sooner. The difference will not be talent, it will not be luck, it will be discipline. So force yourself now, not harshly, not emotionally, but firmly, with conviction, with clarity, with purpose, because the organized life becomes the stable life becomes the confident life, and the confident life becomes the life you are proud to live.